one thing that is very, very clear in my mind. There is a great, great thing in everybody. And it's the one thing that most people, including myself, miss. You grow up and you have it. You just have it. When you think of your youngest memory, you have it. And the thing that you have is you, the person that you are. But as we grow up, we're told to conform. We're told to be like the people in our class in school, get the top grades like the teacher says we should, learn the things in the way that we should, behave in the way that we should. And all these controls come in first from family, then from institutions, education, and change us to being the person who we should be. This brings to mind the time when I was 11. And my family had decided to move back to Africa. We were moving home to Nigeria. Now, it was such a strange time for me because it's almost like 1 minute I'm in school in England and life is good. Next minute, I'm on a boat and we're spending 2 weeks on this boat. And I get seasick, so I wasn't really having the best fun. But I've got to admit, the crew made it a wonderful experience. We had so much fun. They made it so great. It was just my mum and we just literally had so much fun. Now, when we arrived in Nigeria, I was in boarding school thinking, what? Boarding school? What am I doing here? I'll never forget looking at those 2 suitcases and thinking, are they mine? When I look back on this memory, it makes me realize that at that point, I was just about finding out who I was. And all of a sudden I had to change. I was in a new country, in the middle of a new culture, in a new place. And biggest, I was on my own. When I look back now, I really can't see how I managed to get through it. Though I know I did rebel several times. And I think my dad had to take me out of the boarding school for a little bit of time before he could take me back. And then I rebelled again. 2 years of my life went by. And all I can see is me thinking, oh, is it time to go home yet? Oh, is it time to go home yet? I kind of see it in a way as wasted time, though I know it isn't, because now it's made me who I am. Through that whole process, that's a classic example of outward controls taking away your right to become who you really are. Because all of these controls that I'd had before in England were one thing, but then I had now all of these different controls in a different culture. So I really didn't know who I was. It took me some time to realize, wait a minute, who I am is my choice. And so I just took the best from both cultures, and now you have the person before you now. It's not strange to think that you will lose yourself, and that is what exactly happens. So here we are as adults, trying to fight our way through. Even the fact that we believe it's a fight is something that isn't generally there. When you're a child, life is more fun. Life is more about what you do and not how what you do is going to become or the result that you're going to get from it. And the big point, what people are going to think about your doing. If you look at any 2-year-old running about there, looking at everything, running into everything, going into everywhere, and we are controlling it out of them. Stop, don't go there, you'll hurt yourself, wait, hold on. We don't really realize what we're doing. We're taking away, as Abraham Hicks would say, we're taking away that thought of wellness, that thought of well-being. We are installing a thought of fear and carefulness and beware and try not to hurt yourself. That's nothing wrong. You can't stop yourself from doing that. However, the hard bit is allowing somebody to become who they are, allowing somebody to actually be the person who they are. We all know about people like that, but now we call them stars. Life allowed them, no matter how hard it was or no matter how good it was when they were growing up, it has allowed them to stay as who they are. And the bits that they will use to conform are slight instead of being total, complete, and overwhelming. When I read Earl Nightingale's book, The Stranger's Secret, it brought to my mind immediately the value of the mind. It made me consider how I could just have a good life and do what everyone else does and get a good job, 9 to 5, and have 3.5 kids, or 2.5, is it? go through life just being whoever I am, but not be identifiable for anything. It would be a comfortable life. Or I could harness the power of my mind, my individuality, and become whatever I wanted to be. I could look to do what gives me not just personal inspiration, but personal joy, happiness, fulfillment, you name it. I could live an amazing life. When I looked out there, I thought, hold on, that's not what everybody does. So it's going to be harder just because of that. And that was my first mistake. I was trying to make it something that would be hard or easy, or maybe a little bit of both, instead of just letting it be something that I thought of doing, and because the thought felt good, I kept on doing. See where it goes. Not trying to put too much pressure and anxiety and panic into myself about whatever it was that I chose to do. These are the hidden things that will come up and become obstacles that you may never overcome, because they're obstacles within your own mind. I've met so many people when I'm out there teaching and giving talks and seminars that there are a multitude of stories of people who tell me of things that they wish they'd done. Like I remember the lady who said, I've been a successful doctor for years and years and I've loved every moment of it, but I wish I'd just kept on playing the guitar. I stood for a moment and thought, well, okay, why didn't you just keep playing the guitar? I had to ask her why. And she said, well, because that wouldn't have made me any money. That wouldn't have got me any of the trappings of life that I have. And I thought, well, what are these trappings? If the trappings are enough, why are you still wishing that you could play the guitar? Surely you could have just played it and played it at home, I guess. Oh, I never had the time. Do you know what a medical career is like? You won't have the time to go home and do that. It's only now that I have the time, but I don't have the energy to bother anymore. Now, cut a long story short, I ended up saying to her, well, all I can tell you is if it makes you feel good, you better go pick up a guitar and start playing it. But if it's just something that you wish you'd done, there'll be lots of things for everybody. Lots of things you wish you'd done, because you can't do everything, at least not in one lifetime. All you need to do is just make sure the things you do pursue at least give you some internal feeling before you just look to the external effect and what did it materialize, what did it become. If you can be happy within yourself, then that's going to be the best you're going to get out of it, and everything else is just the icing on the cake. She accepted this and, smiling, walked away and said, oh, a wonderful seminar, I enjoyed it, and hey, I think I'm going to buy myself a guitar. So what do we do about this? The first thing you have to realize is you have all you need in yourself. It's the one thing that you have that no one else does. But how do you make that be the thing, the great thing that it is? Well, first you have to let your light shine, as they say. You have to become the star you are, but when you look in the mirror, see that star. It can't be first about what other people think about you, because that will drag you away from your own perception of who you are. Now, how are you going to know who you are? That's a journey you have to go on personally. Let your feelings give you the signs to show you whether who you are is in sync or not with what it is you're thinking or what it is you're actually doing. That's a process that will take as long or as short as it does, but the benefits of that journey will never be surpassed by anything else you will ever do. Becoming who you are, allowing that diamond within you, and it's not a diamond in the rough, it's a diamond sitting there wanting to shine, but it's being suppressed by the only thing that can suppress it, the individual person. Why would you choose not to believe that you can do great things, that you have all the ability to learn what you don't know now and to use that new knowledge with what you know now to apply and do anything? Why would you want to choose to believe opposite to that? Simple answer is because that's who you have become. You've listened to all the things that people have said to you. You can't do that. You're not good at that. They have taken away your choice to think of what you not just are, but what you want to become. Put limits into you without knowing it. It might just be they were trying to control the classroom to teach their lesson. However, the effect on you could last a lifetime and beyond, taking you away from your great self. So again, what can you do? You need to realize this is the greatest truth. The only thing you need to get you to wherever you want to be is your own good self. How you find your own good self and become your own good self, regardless of other people's opinions, that is your own personal journey. Finding yourself is the key to everything. Once you find yourself, then you can mold yourself into the best of yourself. And by that, I mean the best you. Now, the best you is not about what you're doing. It's about what you're thinking. It's about how what you're thinking is making you feel. Because that puts you in a position to either touch things with greatness or touch things with sadness. It's just one of those truths. You are either allowing yourself to be happy in the way you respond to the things that you hear and see every day of your life, or you are allowing your sadness to be fueled and become so strong that your happiness will not get a look in when you're considering, how should I feel? How should I respond? How should I think about whatever I'm thinking about? All of these things are so simple, but also so far away from you because we try to control everything except our own selves. The only thing you should ever be trying to control is your own self. Be the person who acts with respect instead of the person who reacts to whatever is happening based on how you think you should act or what you've heard people do in this kind of situation. And maybe it might be what you did last time. Although you know that last time it didn't feel good, but you'll do it again because that's what you did, and now you might do it several times and it will become because that's what you do. Make sure you consider this one important fact. There will never be anyone else who can come to you and tell you how good you are if you haven't first said it to yourself. You won't be able to hear it. Because if in your own mind you don't appreciate your strengths, your abilities, your scope, and the journeys you've successfully been on, and allow that to let you forge on to go on further journeys and succeed at them, no one else is ever going to be able to give that to you. You give it to yourself. In all of this, that diamond within you that everyone has will start to shine. You will be able to keep it shining. And as you know, when you look at anybody who we see as famous or worthy of respect, the one constant is that person is identifiable as who they are. If they're not, then they won't last for long because people will start comparing them to other people who've been out and done something that they're doing, and all of a sudden they'll get drowned out and we're talking about the other people who they based themselves on. With their own individuality, there's no one else to talk about. Like I said earlier, that's the one thing you have that no one else does, your own individual self. And with control of your own individual self, wow, you can do anything, get anywhere. You can really become the legend that you want to be. By legend, I do not mean a legend in other people's eyes. It's always how you look at yourself. And this is probably the hardest bit. I know personally, I haven't always looked at myself and had praise for myself. I haven't always thought of myself and had praising thoughts of myself. I now know that whenever those thoughts come in, they are worse than the whole world standing in front of me and saying, we're going to get you. Because it's me trying to do something bad to my own self. And that you may never overcome. What do you do to make sure you get the best out of this amazing life? Find your own self. Realize that you are an individual who, once you believe it yourself, can do whatever it is you choose to do. If you find good in you and you build that good and you allow it to make you feel good, to think good, to do good, you will make positive change First in your own self, and then for others. The world is a wonderful place. It is not going bad. Don't believe the hype. It will always go to good, because no matter who you are, no matter where you are, you want to be living a good life. You want to be happy. You want to smile. You want to eat well. You want to feel great. That's the constant. That's just part of our human nature. We're so strong that we can give all the reasons why we don't feel great. We can give all the reasons why we have to feel sad, because that's the way the world is. Make sure you're telling your mind something good.